Hey, I'm PH, and welcome to another episode of Good Bible Knowledge with PhD. In this set of videos, I want to answer common questions about the Bible in a fun and creative way. I hope these videos will be helpful for your own spiritual journey in Jesus. Let's get started. How did Daniel rise to prominence in Babylon? When Israel surrendered to Babylon under King Jehoiakim, Daniel, along with many other young men and women, were taken from their families and brought to Babylon to be indoctrinated into the Babylonian culture and idolatry. Refusing to conform, Daniel and his three friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, remained faithful to the Lord and distinguished themselves above even the wisest and best of the Babylonians. In the second year of this enculturation program, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had a very disturbing dream, and he immediately called the royal magicians and sorcerers to stand before the king. Suspicious of their actual ability, Nebuchadnezzar said, "I am not going to tell you the dream. If you can really interpret this dream, then surely you can tell me what I dreamed first. And if you don't, you'll be torn limb from limb and your families will be killed as well." The magicians and soothsayers were terrified, and they begged the king, saying, "There is not a man on earth who can meet the king's demand. No one can do this except the gods, whose dwelling is not with flesh." These pagan wise men were confessing, there is no person on earth that can do this. And if there is anyone that can, this person's God is without a doubt the one and only true God. Angry and furious, Nebuchadnezzar commanded that all the wise men throughout the kingdom be destroyed, including Daniel and his three friends. Upon hearing the king's decree, Daniel requested an appointment with the king, believing that at that time, God would grant him the interpretation of the king's dream. He then gathered Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and told them to seek the Lord in prayer. That evening, God gave Daniel the answer to the king's dream. The next day, Daniel approached the captain of the guard and said, "Bring me to the king, and I will show him the interpretation of his dream." When Daniel stood before King Nebuchadnezzar, the king said, "Are you able to tell me my dream and its interpretation?" Daniel replied, "There is no man on earth who can do as the king requests, but there is a God in heaven who can reveal all mysteries." He went on to say that the king saw a great statue. The head of this image was gold, its chest and arms were silver, its middle and thighs were bronze, and its legs were of iron and feet were of clay. Then the king saw a rock that was not cut by human hands that fell from heaven and crushed the statue, and all the remains of the statue were like chaff that blows away in the wind, until all that was left was the rock, which became a great mountain that filled the entire earth. Daniel then interpreted the dream, saying that each of these sections represent the succession of different empires from 605 to 27 BC. And the rock from heaven was a final kingdom from God that would overcome all human kingdoms and become an eternal kingdom through Jesus. Nebuchadnezzar then fell on his face before Daniel and declared, "Truly, your God is the true God." And he appointed Daniel as the chief prefect over all the wise men of Babylon. And at Daniel's request, he made Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego rulers over the province of Babylon. What can we learn from Daniel? God is in control of all history. He is sovereign over all rulers and nations of the earth. He is able to turn captives and slaves into rulers over empires. And the Bible predicts this coming kingdom of God, which like a rock will come from heaven and will break all the mighty kingdoms of this world to pieces. This kingdom of heaven will never be destroyed, neither will it fade, for this kingdom will be an eternal kingdom ruled by Jesus, the King of Kings. Thanks for listening to another episode of Good Bible Knowledge. We'll see you next time.